We must find we write details or facts about the topic that we're going to write about. And here on the other side of the table, we write about details or information that we still need to search for, right? And and in our language arts practice, we copied the girl and we took her idea and we wrote about Benjamin Franklin. We started writing the outline of our expository writing, which was about Benjamin Franklin. So here, as you see, the girl wrote some details or got some information about Benjamin Franklin, and she wrote it down. Okay, and we wrote it, like for example, here we said that we decided to write about Benjamin Franklin, and the outline of the story, we wrote that the story can have more than one, or the expository writing can have more than one paragraph, and each paragraph should have like a main idea. Right? For example, the first main idea or the first paragraph will talk about the early life of Benjamin Franklin, and we wrote that. And the two details that we wrote about him, that he was born in Boston in 1706, and we wrote that he started a newspaper. In the second paragraph, we wrote why do we admire him? So we wrote that he liked science and he opened the first library and the first fire station. So okay, the first draft is like the first copy of our writing. Okay, is this what we submit? No. Okay, we use the draft to reread it. We read it twice or 3 times, and we use it to make the sentences more interesting. We can combine sentences. We can also use the draft for mistakes. Okay, like as we said before, when we start writing, we usually begin with the main idea. Okay, so we started and usually the first sentence of the story or the paragraph shows you what the main idea is, so the reader can have an idea of what they will read about. So the first sentence here, it says Benjamin Franklin enjoyed science. That is the main idea. The sentences following that would have details telling you how he was interested about science. Okay, for example, he says here he did For example, he was born in Boston in 1706. He went to Philadelphia when he was 17 years old. We added that detail in class. And there he helped the city set up its first fire department and library. Okay, the third paragraph, the main idea would be about how he helped the Americans during the Revolutionary War, but we did not add that. Okay, so that's how we practice. So again, what do we do with our draft? We revise it, we read it again to add words to make the describing words to make the writing more interesting. We use connecting words to show what the sequence. We use the draft to write in correct sequence. Okay, so here what we did today is we read a expository writing about Marco Polo. Marco Polo is one of the most famous explorers, and we started making the story better. We started combining it. We started making the sentences shorter, and we added some words. Okay, like for example here we said Marco Polo lived a long time ago. Marco Polo was an explorer Marco Polo traveled to Asia. He wrote a famous book about it. One time, Marco's father took Marco to China. It took 3 years. The trip was hard. There they met times. Your friends in class said Marco Polo, they wrote about him so many times. So instead we started combining sentences using and. Okay, so what did we do? We said Marco Polo lived a long time ago. We left the first sentence the way it is. Second sentence, we combined with the third. We wrote Marco Polo was an explorer and traveled to Asia. So what did we do? We made a triangle and we added the word and we deleted the second Marco Polo. He wrote a famous book about his travels. Okay, so in class your friends also said he wrote a famous book about Asia. Okay, so the answers can be different. One time Marco's father took him to China, so we removed Marco and we added him. Marco's father took him to China when he was young. It, instead of writing it, we wrote the trip took 3 years. We could make the sentence shorter and write and it was hard. Or we can delete the trip and write it was long and hard. Okay? There they met the ruler of China. His name was Kublai Khan. Many people read Marco Polo's book about his travels because he traveled to many places. Remember, he's an explorer, and that's what we did to make this expository writing better. Okay? So for our draft, we read it, we revise it, and we proofread it. What do we do when we proofread? We checked for mistakes such as capitalization, correct end mark, punctuation. Make sure you use the pronouns correctly, and we checked for spelling. Okay? Remember, to proofread is to look for the mistakes in our draft. Okay? Here, for example, Ben Franklin enjoyed science. His name is not, this is his short for, no, we have to write his name properly because we're writing his biography. So Benjamin Franklin enjoyed science. Okay, he did experiments with electricity. He invented the lightning rod. So instead of writing things, we wrote exactly what he invented. Okay, Benjamin Franklin, here the word lived was misspelled, so the girl corrected her mistake. Benjamin Franklin lived long ago. He was born in Boston in 1706. He went to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the name of a city, so it must begin with a capital letter. So here, the 3 lines, here means you have to capitalize it. There, he helped the city set up its first fire department. Here, remember, we took the difference between a contraction and possessive pronoun. So here we changed the contraction to its, because its is the means that it's the city's first fire department. So it's not the contraction, it is. Okay? And here we also corrected, we added words to show what will happen next. So the person added later, he helped write the Constitution. All right? Benjamin Franklin died in 1790. He was a great American. So she added a good ending for her writing. Okay? So this is what we're going to be doing in page 73D. This is also an expository writing about Abraham Lincoln. Let's see what we'll do. Okay, do you know who Abraham Lincoln is? He was born in Kentucky in 1809. He lived in a log cabin. When he was 7 years old, Abraham's family moved to Indiana. Okay, Abraham Lincoln loved to read. Sometimes he walked a long way to borrow a book. He would read it in his cabin by the light of a candle. Abraham grew up to be an honest man. Some people called he Honest Abe. Abraham Lincoln became the 16th President of the United States. Okay, so as you see here, when we will proofread, we will reread it to find the mistakes. Okay, so here, this symbol means it's a new paragraph. This triangle means you will add something like we did above. This means to take out. Okay, this symbol means to make a capital, the 3 lines. This slash is to make a small capital. SP and a circle means check spelling. And a period is to add a period. Okay, so we're going to do it again and correct the mistakes. Do you know who Abraham Lincoln is? He was born in Kentucky in 1809. Kentucky is the name of a state, so it should be capital. So that's why we've added 3 lines under it, because it should be capitalized. He lived in a log cabin. When he was 7 years old, Abraham's family moved to Indiana. Abraham's family. Okay, the family that belonged to Abraham. So we have to put an apostrophe before the S to show that this is possessive noun. Okay, the family that belongs to Abraham. Abraham Lincoln loved to read. Okay, that's a period after it. So the next sentence would be a new sentence. So sometimes he walked a long way to borrow a book. Sometimes here the S is lowercase. We should capitalize it. Okay, he would read it in his cabin by the light of a candle. Light is misspelled. You have to spell L-I-G-H-T. So we circled it and we wrote S-P. First check the spelling. Abraham grew up to be an honest man. Some people called him Honest Abe. Abraham Lincoln became the 16th President of the United States. Okay, so above we on 73C, what we did, we combined some sentences. We use more words to make the writing better. Here when we proofread, we checked for punctuation, for the beginning of, if the sentence began correctly with capital letter, it ended with a correct end mark. We checked for spelling mistakes. Okay, and that's it. Okay, you guys, I will be putting the writing project on SMS tomorrow, and it will be due on May 10th. Okay, so you have like 15 days to complete your project. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.